Good evening. Tonight is September 4th. It's 2025. It's after 5:05. The Lee County budget hearing will convene. If we could stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The public hearing, September 4th, 2025, Lee County budget is called to order. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have advertised this meeting in conformance with Florida statute. The notice appeared on the truth and millage statements that were mailed to each property owner, and we will file a copy of them with the clerk. You are authorized to proceed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I now hereby open the public hearing in the evening for the fiscal year 25-26 tentative millage and budget for Lee County. If anyone here in the audience is here for the purpose of contesting their assessment, go see Matt Caldwell. No, they should contact the Lee County property appraiser. Tonight we're holding the tentative millage and budget hearing as required by Florida statutes, chapters 129 and 200. The hearing will be conducted as follows. The board will first convene as the Board of Port Commissioners and proceed as follows. The budget presentation by the Port Authority Deputy Director, public comment for tentative Port Authority budget. This will be your only opportunity to comment on all budgets for the Port Authority that has the jurisdiction over. There'll be no other opportunity during the hearing to provide your comments. Board of Port Commissioners discussions and motions will be here. Adoption of the fiscal 25-26 tentative Port Authority budget resolution will be with any appropriate changes. Following that, the board will reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners and will proceed as following. Brief overview of the Lee County fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget and presentation by the Assistant County Manager, CFO. Presentation of Lee County's total budget by Assistant County Manager, CFO, including discussion of percentage increases of millage over rollback rates needed to fund the budget and specific purposes for which ad valorem tax revenues are being increased. Florida Statute 200.065 2E1. Presentation of all special taxing units proposed tentative millage rates by the Assistant County Manager, CFO. Public comment for all budget issues under the authority of the Board of County Commissioners. There'll be only one opportunity to make comments on all budgets for the Board of County Commissioners that has authority over it. There'll be no other opportunity during this hearing to provide any comments. Following the public comment, the Board of County Commissioners will comment and take action to move approval with the appropriate changes, the resolution of a tentative millage, and the tentative budget. Consider special taxing units, tentative millage, and budgets. Consider countywide tax millage and budget. Consider library, unincorporated MSTU, and all hazards protection, tentative millage and budgets. Consider all other tentative budgets. Concerning citizen comments, in order to expedite the hearing from anyone, citizen comments will only be heard during the two public comment segments of this hearing. One segment for the Board of Port Commissioners and one segment for the Board of County Commissioners. Speak will be limited to 3 minutes at a time. Please do not applaud, don't take any actions, don't clap, don't do anything, don't intimidate, or try to encourage a speaker. Public comments will continue until everyone wishes to address the Commission and had the opportunity to speak. We will now convene as the Board of Port Commissioners. We'll ask the Port Authority Deputy Director, Steve, are you here? Okay, to present the fiscal 25-26 proposed budget. Thank you.
Afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, Dave Amdor, Port Authority Deputy Executive Director and CFO. In compliance with Florida statutes, a public hearing is being held on September 4th, 2025 for the purpose of adopting the tentative budget for FY 25-26. The Board of Port Commissioners has acknowledged the revenue estimates necessary to fund the Port Authority budget for FY 25-26. The Board of County Commissioners is now convened as the Board of Port Commissioners for adoption of the tentative Port Authority budget. The budget for FY 25-26, as shown by the attached schedules of each fund, is made a part of this resolution and is proposed for adoption as the tentative budget of the Lee County Port Authority for FY 25-26. No adjustments are being proposed for the Port Authority's budget compared to what we showed to you this morning.
At this time, the commission will be pleased to hear any citizens' comments. I do have a card from Marcia Ellis regarding the Port Authority budget. Sure.
Excuse me, can I get the document camera up, please? Just hold on a second.
Take your time.
Technical problem.
I won't start the clock.
Thank you. Good evening, Marcia Ellis for the record. I happen to be a neighbor to the airport, so I pay attention, as well as being, of course, aware of all of our investment in our public water supply that is also a neighbor to the airport. And so I will point out that I've been following the Fitch ratings and to look and see what sort of financial health that we're in. Basically, I have a couple of concerns. One of those concerns has to do with an unknown amount of federal recovery funds that have been used to handle our debt ratio, as well as some risks going forward that are related to project overruns. And the reason I think that this is important before I get into a few line items is we have experienced some controversies over the amount of money that had to be spent at the airport due to cost overruns that are running years over schedule and more than doubling in price, as well as a lot of wasted resources, including over $8 million in windows that were just left to become unusable. So I was a bit surprised to see that our rating is still as intact as it is, given that those risks that have been identified are really showing up in our community. And I think it's something that we need to be aware of, because not every community has a Board of County Commission and a Port Authority that are the same sitting body. Some communities, they are separate entities. But when we do have the same group doing both roles, paying attention to the adopting federal standards is important. And we are, in this budget, accepting some federal monies, and with that come obligation to adopt those federal standards for community planning. One of the things I'm concerned about is the big increase in monies for executive spending. Basically, I think that's a lot, especially I'm hoping that that might be a reaction to trying to get a handle on whatever has happened there in the past. But given the amount of controversy we've had, that's concerning to me. Another thing that I flagged here were, again, professional services and improvement construction, where we have tremendous increases. And then the last thing I want to point out on here are under revenues. I found this really kind of concerning, is all of this revenue from interest on investments. And we basically had zero in 23-24, and now we're getting a lot of monies from investments and then these inter-fund transfers. And so just as a matter of transparency, oh, thank you.
Time's up. Thank you. Appreciate your presentation.
Sure.
Any other public speakers? Thanks, Cecil.
Thanks.
Any other public speakers? Now concludes public comment segment during the Port Authority budget. I'll ask for a motion to adopt the tentative budget for the Port Authority fiscal year 25-26.
Move the item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment on that? Seeing none, I'll bring it back up to the dais. Any other discussion? Seeing none, anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay. We'll now reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. We'll begin by asking that if any constitutional officers or court-related organization desires to make a budget presentation, please step forward to the podium. Hey, Matt. Thanks for being here.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. I'll be short and sweet and brief. We can go to the next slide. Just for a little bit of context, I'm sure you all know our size. We'll get on the next slide, the size comparisons, but just for our budget in terms of where we stood in 2025, obviously don't have the other 66 counties' budgets yet, so we don't know where we rank with this year's process, but as of last year, we were the second most cost-effective per parcel in the state. I'm not sure what we're going to do to beat Washington County. I'm going to have to keep working at this. Their 8 FTEs for their parcel count is pretty impressive. But on a per capita basis, we are the 5th least expensive there at $14.84 per person. Next slide. So year over year we must have skipped one, but that's all right. We'll move on. Year over year comparisons. This is the history since 2011. You'll see that we were on a pretty solid trajectory of continuing to tighten the belt, headed into the year after when I took over the office from Ken Wilkinson, and then we obviously all had the difficulty with inflation from both COVID and broader effects, and that has certainly come to bear. And I'll talk in a minute about the FTE count having crept up a little bit, but you'll see that ultimately we propose to keep our employee count at the same for this fiscal year, but there is an increase, and we'll go to the next slide. And a substantial proportion of that is the insurance pass-through. Y'all are grappling that with your own employees, the cost of particularly the health insurance, but collectively, because our budget is relatively low at just around $10 million, a nearly $500,000 increase for all the collective insurances definitely hit us on a percentage basis, but our net request, separate from that, was the $313,000, which is essentially budget adjustments based on year-over-year changes the state is taking as their standard recommendations, cost of pensions, et cetera. So you'll see there the big 5 budget drivers for this year. Again, 86 FTEs, office equipment. We're basically an operational budget. Postage is, of course, a huge part, as trim notices just went out. Subscriptions are our research, our databases that we use in order to develop the tax roll, and then again, obviously printing to print all of those trim notices. Next slide. And then last one before any questions, these are just the big budget drivers since I took office. Obviously this year we've got the insurance increase. In terms of creeping up on FTEs, we had gotten down to 81, but as I think some of you we've talked over the last few years, Ken was able to really stretch the dollar by having a lot of long-term employees. So as I came in the door, at least 25% or greater of the organization was within a short-term window for retirement. So we've been cycling those out, getting folks with some different competencies, and of course we've got a little bit of duplication as older folks are headed out the door and getting folks to come in to replace them in some key positions. We did adjust during the post-COVID universe. We did several salary studies for all our positions to try to remain competitive. We also replaced our vehicle fleet. You probably have seen we no longer have the wonderful rust-colored Kia Souls that we're driving around town, and we've now set that on a rotating, rolling basis to replace 5 at a time. And then postage and printing. Those costs have more than doubled since before the COVID period in both those categories. So, next slide. Any questions in terms of our budgets?
Any questions for Matt?
Appreciate the presentation.
All right.
Very
Thank
much.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. At this time, we'll ask the Assistant County Manager, CFO, to present the fiscal 25-26 proposed budget.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is the public hearing as required by Chapters 129 and 200 Florida Statutes. Chapter 200, as amended, requires that a public hearing on the budgets be preceded by notice of the hearing. Such notice was provided by the proposed tax notice sent to property owners by the Lee County Property Appraiser. At this time, we will read the proposed millages, rollback rates, and the proposed percentage change from the rollback rate for the county's general fund, library, unincorporated area MSTU, all hazards and special taxing units millages. We will then take public input, and after public input, we will return to the board for discussion and vote on the millages. These proposed millages are established to pay for the fiscal year 25-26 continuation budget. All of the millage rates have stayed the same. The increases in budgets are primarily due to increased population and the growth pressures that go along with that, inflationary pressures, which also affects our contractual arrangements, insurance costs, and a pay adjustment. Countywide millage. The proposed countywide millage is 3.7623 mils per thousand taxable value compared to the rollback rate of 3.6162 mils per thousand of taxable value. The proposed millage is a 4.04% increase from the rollback rate. Lee County Library. The proposed Lee County Library millage is 0.4361 mils per thousand taxable value compared to the rollback rate of 0.4218 mils per thousand of taxable value. The proposed millage is a 3.4% increase from the rollback rate. Lee County Unincorporated Area MSTU. The proposed Lee County Unincorporated Area MSTU is 0.8398 mils per thousand taxable value compared to the rollback rate of 0.8091 mils per thousand of taxable value. The proposed millage is a 3.79% increase from the rollback rate. Lee County All Hazards Protection District. The proposed Lee County All Hazards Protection District millage is 0.0693 mils per thousand taxable value compared to the rollback rate of 0.0673 mils per thousand of taxable value. This represents a 3.03% increase from the rollback rate. Municipal services taxing / benefit units. The municipal services taxing / benefit units allow communities to tax themselves to pay for added services such as street lights, dredging, road paving, and landscaping. For those units that have citizen committees, the budgets for next year were approved by the committees, and the tax rate is a reflection of what is required to pay the annual costs. For those that don't have citizen committees, the county charges a rate that pays for annual costs while maintaining a small operational reserve for variances in revenues and anticipated costs. I will now read into the record the proposed millage rates, rollback rates, and the percentage change from the rollback rate for each of the special taxing units millages. Alabama Groves Light, proposed millage 0.6500. It's a 27.42% increase from a rollback rate of 0.5101. Bayshore Estates Light 1.72. That's a 10.38% increase over the rollback rate of 1.5583. Billy Creek Commerce Center Light, proposed millage of 0.1893. That's a 17.96% increase over the rollback rate of 0.1605. Birkdale Street Light, proposed millage of 0.31. That's a 3.22% increase over the rollback rate of 0.3003. Burnt Store Fire, proposed millage 3.17. That's a 0.91% increase over the rollback rate of 3.1413. Charleston Park Light 1.5. That's a 13.8% increase over the rollback rate of 1.3181. Cypress Lake Light 0.4060. That's a 3.52% increase over the rollback rate of 0.3922. Dr. Creek Light 0.94. That's a 15.01% increase over the rollback rate of 0.8173. Flamingo Bay Light 0.48. That's a 4.33% increase over the rollback rate of 0.4601. Fort Myers Shores Light, proposed millage 0.1620. That's a 3.84% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.1685. Fort Myers Villa Light 0.22. That's a 7.22% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.2371. Gasparilla Island, 0.0320. That's a 0.16% increase over the rollback rate of 0.0319. Harlem Heights Light, 0.55. That's a 7.24% increase over the rollback rate of 0.5129. Heitman Apollo Street Light Unit, 1.08. That's a 5.08% increase over the rollback rate of 1.0278. Hinder Creek Light, 0.47, that's a 4.46% increase over the rollback rate of 0.45. Iona Gardens Light, 0.56, that's a 5.39% increase over the rollback rate of 5.5314. Lehigh Acres Light, 0.6, that's a 15.17% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.7073. Lockmore Village Light, 0.7050, that's a 1.42% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.7152. Maravilla Fire District, that's 2.0, that's a 12.04% increase over the rollback rate of 1.7851. McGregor Isle O&M Special Improvement Unit, proposed millage 0.5, that's 6.15% increase over the rollback rate of 0.4710. Mobile Haven Light, 0.75, that's a 1.54% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.7618. Moore Shores Light, 0.3270, that's a 2.35% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.3349. North Fort Myers Light, 0.2450, that's a 15.68% increase over the rollback rate of 0.2118. Northeast Hurricane Bay, 1.0, that's a 3.28% increase over the rollback rate of 0.9683. Page Park Light, 0.30, that's a 12.83% increase over the rollback rate of 0.2659. Palmetto Point Light, 1.25, that's a 76.73% increase over the rollback rate of 0.7073. Palmona Park Light, that's at 0.80, that's a 7.37% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.8637. Pine Manor Light, 0.4160, that's 11.64% increase over the rollback rate of 0.3726. Port Edison Light, 0.60, that's a 5.62% increase over the rollback rate of 0.5681. Riverdale Shores Improvement, 2.0, that's a 0.72% increase over the rollback rate of 1.9857. Russell Park Light, 0.6336, that's a 2.53% increase over the rollback rate of 0.6180. San Carlos Island Lighting Unit, 0.0850, that's a 12.06% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.0967. San Carlos Park Improvement, 0.30, that's a 9.77% increase over the rollback rate of 0.2733. Skyline Light, that's at 0.180, that's a 9.12% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.1981. St. Jude Harbor Light, 0.27, as a 3.37% increase over the rollback rate of 0.2612. Tanglewood Improvement, 1.0, that's a 5.25% increase over the rollback rate of 0.9501. Town and River Improvement, 0.50, that's a 9.86% increase over the rollback rate of 0.4551. Trail Winds Light, 0.50, that's an 8.99% increase over the rollback rate of 0.4587. Tropicals Light, 0.53, that's a 1.99% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.5408. Usepa Island Fire, 4.63, that's a 2.26% increase over the rollback rate of 4.5277. Villa Palms Light, 0.75, that is a 6.72% increase over the rollback rate of 0.7027. Villa Pines Light, 0.36, that's a 0.82% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.3630. Waterway Estates Light, 0.30, that's a 9.69% decrease over the rollback rate of 0.3322. Waterway Shores Light, 1.3, that's an 81.14% decrease over the rollback rate of 6.8933. Whiskey Creek Improvement, 0.9999, that's a 3.62% increase over the rollback rate of 0.9650. Previously read fiscal year 25-26 special unit taxing unit millages are proposed for tentative adoption. Any percentage in the proposed millage of the rollback rate reflected above is due to a combination of increased electric costs, additional landscaping, and other future projects. If no changes are made after public comment, only one motion to adopt will be required, as the resolution includes all of these taxing units.
At this time, the commission will be pleased to hear any citizens' comments concerning any budgets on the authority of the Porter County Commissioners. Again, to reiterate, these members for the public come in. Upon the opening of the hearing will be the only opportunity to speak. There'll be no other opportunity to speak. I do have a card from Marcia Ellis and from Derek as well.
Thank you. I have a copy for each. My name is Marcia Ellis, and I'm speaking on the record for the League of Women Voters of Lee County. I'm sure you are in receipt of the letter that we sent earlier today. Commissioners, the League of Women Voters of Lee County strongly supports the full funding and implementation of Conservation 2020 Land Acquisition and Stewardship Program as required by law. The budget of the 25-26 year should include a minimum of $40 million for Conservation 2020. Lee County voters by referendum have voted to support and fund the program twice, in 1996 and in 2016, with 84% of the voters saying yes to Conservation 2020. Lee County's 2020 lands preserve key ecological functions to prevent flood risk, protect water quality supply and keep those from deteriorating, and habitat fracturing, prevent habitat fracturing. They also protect our quality of life, give us public access to lands and recreation opportunities for our residents and for our tourists for nearly 30 years. In 2013, more than $80 million was set aside with a 0.5 millage tax that was approved by voters to fund the program, and this was absorbed into the Lee County General Fund. And since that time, the revenue that was generated from 2013 through 2024 is calculated at greater than $435.8 million, with only $87 million spent towards purchasing 46 properties, many of them 5-acre lots in the Crew watershed, for a total of 6,700 acres, approximately 20% of the total 32,000 acres acquired since 1996. Currently, there are $47 million worth of property nominated and only $19 million in the fund. And according to the Lee County Land Development Code, this fund is to be maintained at no less than $40 million, and once the fund drops below this amount, the county will replenish it. At an August 20th advisory committee meeting, the Lee County staff recommended not replenishing the fund and suggested a new tier system that retroactively downgraded 2 properties. One was on Sanibel Island in the special high hazard flood zone, and environmental nonprofits spoke in favor of acquiring both. In addition, there was $75 million in CDBG-GR hurricane recovery funds that were allotted to purchase repetitive flood properties for green space, and that money has not been spent. The League urges the Commission to fully fund the Conservation 2020 program as it is codified and opposes defunding, changing criteria retroactively, and delaying the timing for acquisition of properties. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Derek?
Derek Feller for the record. I'm just going to comment on what we can do to keep the funding there for the LECO extension to make sure that happens in a timely manner. Joel Boulevard 4-laning, expediting that with the potential new high school that's coming up there. Joel at Tuckahoe to get that rest of that 4-laned towards Stair 80. And then the study in PD&E for the Sunshine extension from where it ends up to Stair 80. I know it's a ways out for getting that built, but if we need to get that PD&E funded, and get that going to get that process started. Sidewalks in Lehigh Acres, I know a big issue with getting sidewalks built is funding. So somehow getting to work with Lamson and getting that power given to Lamson maybe, so we can establish a taxing district for specified sidewalk funding for Lehigh to be built. Same as we have a street lighting district. Street lighting could be turned over to Lamson. If Lamson doesn't want to do it, or that's not possible, how about creating another MSU just like we have the street lighting one, specifically for sidewalks in Lehigh? Take that burden off of the general fund and the that fund and put it directly onto a Lehigh taxpayer paid fund, specifically for funding Lehigh sidewalks. Another issue I wanted to ask about is you don't necessarily have control over the constitutional officers' budgets, but you do have some oversight, I think, in that you can ask for audits potentially. Not necessarily an audit of, specifically I'm referring to the sheriff's department potentially, not of that the money is how it's spent, but is it spent wisely? A performance audit, not the typically audit. I believe everyone is spending the money properly and in the correct, how it's spent, but is it spent wisely is the question. And another option, thing to keep, I know you're working on a study for the water in Lehigh. Just keep in mind, depending on how that study goes, what can be done from the county standpoint to potentially take over FGUA in the future, so that we can work on actually expanding the sewer and water system in Lehigh, as opposed to just nothing being done currently. Currently we have a lot of commercial areas, and commercial businesses are hesitant to come into Lehigh due to the lack of water and sewer in many of the areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? No, please.
Good evening. My name is Joyce Campana. I'm a Lee County resident of District 2. I'd like to commend the board and staff for providing comprehensive information and documents online for this meeting. I would also like to commend the board for their due diligence in putting together the county portion of the budget. And I'd also like to thank the county assessor for appearing and giving us a brief overview of his department's budget. As was mentioned, there are other constitutional officers that we know the board does not have control over, such as the supervisor of elections, clerk, property appraiser, tax collector, and sheriff's office. The largest of those departments' budgets is that of the sheriff's department, at a proposed $342 million this year. Last year, the sheriff's budget saw a huge increase, which included 75 new officers and a 6% pay increase. I would like to know, were the 75 new officers hired? If so, good. If not, why is the sheriff's department asking for more money? The sheriff's department has also requested a 5% pay increase, while many of the other constitutional offices, I understand, have budgeted pay increases anywhere from 0 to 5%. The salary, sheriff's office rate of increases seems to always be the highest among all the departments of constitutional officers and county budgets. And I would like to know, as a taxpayer, why? Except, as far as I know, there's no one here to answer my question or other taxpayers' questions. I urge the commissioners to bear in mind that every 1% pay increase adds approximately $1 million to the budget. The state of Florida budgeted a 2% pay increase, and Lee County School District just agreed to a 3% increase for service workers. Economic forecasts for 2026 are not rosy. Tourism's declining, real estate market slowing down, and inflation is increasing. Proposing pay increases of 5% is fiscally irresponsible, especially with benefits projected to rise 20% next year. I urge the board and sheriff to scale back pay increases to 3% or less. Passing a fiscally conservative budget is an absolute must so the county does not find itself in the same position as in 2009 when creative financing and reserves were used to keep the government running. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public would like to speak? With that in mind, I'll close public comment. This concludes the public comment of the portion of this hearing. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt the tentative millage resolution for the special taxing districts.
I move the item.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, bring it back up to the dais. Any discussion? Seeing none, anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. I'll ask for a motion to adopt the tentative budgets for the above stated special taxing units for fiscal year 25-26.
I'll move the item.
I'll second that. A motion, a second. Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, bring it back up to the dais. Any discussion? Hearing none. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I'll now ask the Assistant County Manager, CFO, to proceed with the countywide millage and budgets.
The proposed countywide millage is 3.7623 mils per thousand taxable value compared to the rollback rate of 3.6162 mils per thousand of taxable value. Proposed millage is a 4.04% increase from the rollback rate.
I'll ask for a motion to adopt the
Move the item.
I'll second it, Chair.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Anyone opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries unanimously. I'll ask for a motion to adopt the tentative countywide budget for fiscal year 25-26.
I'll move the item.
I'll second that. I have a motion is second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
The proposed Lee County Library millage is .4361 mils per thousand taxable value compared to the rollback rate of .4218 mils per thousand of taxable value. The proposed millage is a 3.4% increase from the rollback rate.
I'll ask for a motion to adopt the tentative county library millage resolution.
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Yep.
As we discussed at our last workshop, Pete has gotten us the information about what would be the consequences of hitting the rollback on the library budget. It appears we have plenty of reserves in that budget and a large enough surplus to go ahead and hit the rollback rate. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the rollback rate for the library.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt the tentative Lee County Library budget for 25-26.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Anyone opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries unanimously.
The proposed Lee County unincorporated area MSTU millage is .8398 mils per thousand taxable value compared to the rollback rate of .8091 mils per thousand of taxable value. Proposed millage is a 3.79% increase from the rollback rate.
I'll now ask for a motion to adopt the tentative millage resolution for Lee County unincorporated area MSTU.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt the tentative budget for Lee County unincorporated areas MSTU for fiscal year 25-26.
Move the item.
Second. Motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
The proposed Lee County All Hazards Protection District millage is .0693 mils per thousand taxable value compared to the rollback rate of .0673 mils per thousand of taxable value. This represents a 3.03% increase from the rollback rate.
I'll now ask for a motion to adopt the tentative millage resolution for Lee County All Hazards Protection District. I'll move the item.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt the tentative budget for Lee County All Hazards Protection District fiscal year 25-26. I'll move the item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Lee County, all other budgets for the board's adoption tonight make up the rest of the total county budget proposed for next fiscal year. These are funds that are not supported by a millage and include significant operations such as utilities, solid waste, visitor and convention bureau, transit, toll facilities, and those budgets funded through grants from other entities. These budgets are included as part of the total Lee County budget and are detailed in the budget summary in your materials.
I'll now ask for a motion to adopt the tentative Lee County all other budgets.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
In compliance with Florida statutes, this public hearing is being held on September 4th, 2025, for the purpose of the adoption of the tentative total Lee County budget for fiscal year 25-26, and the Board of County Commissioners has now adopted the tentative millage rates necessary to fund the budget. The proposed total Lee County budget for fiscal year 25-26, as shown in the budget summary reports, which outline each fund and is made a part of the budget resolution, is now being proposed for adoption as the tentative total Lee County budget of Lee County, Florida for fiscal year 25-26.
I'll now ask for a motion to adopt the tentative total Lee County budget for fiscal year 25-26.
Move the item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. There's no other business before us.
Commissioner, just one thing. I'd just like to announce that the second budget hearing will be held on September 16th in these chambers, which is a Tuesday at 5:05 p.m.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Any other business before this board? Seeing none, I'll call for an adjournment. Thank you all. Have a good night.